What's going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in. I want to talk about this woman here who is an ex-Yale employee. She was in charge of the Yale School of Medicine. She was actually the administrator. For years, this woman has been stealing money, over 40 million or close to about 40 million in equipment to resell for her and her house husband. Okay. Now, her and her house husband have been living very lavishly off of the goods that she was able to steal from the school. And she's been doing this since 2013. Okay. This woman was allowed to do this. I say allowed because you would think a school like Yale would have their finances organized to where they will notice these things. But obviously this woman was very good at covering her tracks because she was able to do this for almost 8 years. This woman was able to do this. Buying homes, buying luxury vehicles, going on expensive vacations. Nobody noticed anything. I mean, she probably made a decent salary at Yale, but not enough to live the lifestyle she was living openly with her house husband, with her broke house husband. She was able to live this lifestyle. And looking up this story, it seems to me that they might end up giving her a slap on the wrist. It seems like they are prepared to give her a slap on the wrist, even though this woman stole almost 40 million in tech equipment to fund her lifestyle. And if you think that, let me tell you what's going to happen. If you give this woman a slap on the wrist, if you do not make an example out of her, she's going to do it again because she's going to miss that lifestyle. It's going to be difficult for her to get I would say this though, it may not be difficult for her to get a job, but the type of job she had, it may be difficult. So if you think that her living a fraudulent lifestyle, defrauding people or defrauding her employer, do you think that that's going to stop if you give her a slap on the wrist, maybe a couple of years in jail? This woman needs to do upwards of 20, at least 20, because I've seen women or men have like tax evasion charges. They doing a lot of time. There was the PPP loans. People are doing a lot of time for the PPP loans. But I guess when you steal from the government, they want to punish you. But I guess if you steal from Yale, then they are willing and open to give you a slap on the wrist. According to the New York Post here, says a former Yale University employee admitted to pilfering more than $40 million worth of electronics from an Ivy League school and then using the proceeds in her scheme to fund a lavish lifestyle that includes luxury cars, ritzy real estate, and travel. Jaye Petrone, a 42-year-old former director of finance and administration at the Yale Medicine School, Department of Emergency Medicine, pleaded guilty to federal charges of wire fraud and filing a false tax return. In total, Jaye's scheme cost Yale about $40.5 million. As part of her guilty plea, the ex-administrator forfeited more than $560,000 and turned over a fleet of high-end cars, including 2 Mercedes-Benz, 2 Cadillac Escalades, a Range Rover, and a Dodge Charger. Listen, once you've seen the Cadillac Escalade, you already knew. Name the race of that couple. Oh, man. Jaye also agreed to sell off 3 properties in Connecticut as restitution. A 4th property she owns in Georgia also could be seized, and so they need to seize it. I mean, she owes them a lot of money. She needs to sell off everything. There's probably other stuff and other money she got hid somewhere that they're probably gonna find out later she has. But yeah, they need to get as much from her as possible. The Fed said that Jaye whose role authorized her to make equipment purchases for her department as long as the total value was below $10,000, either bought or directed employees to buy tech hardware using the school's money. And nobody said anything. Nobody in that department said, you know what, I don't think we should be doing this. You know why? Probably because they were in on it. This ain't a two-party team. I believe there were other people that were helping her do it and knew what she was doing was wrong, and they were helping her do it. Now, this is over the course of 8 years she was doing this. But I don't think it was a two-person team. I don't think it was just her and her house husband. I don't think it was just her and the house husband. I think it was other people that were helping her facilitate this. And that is why I think that we could see other charges. But again, it seems to me that Yale is okay with her just taking the fall because they don't want no scandal going on with the university. I think Yale is protecting her in a sense, because it couldn't have had just been her that's doing this. It had to be other people, but they know that it could be an even bigger scandal. So I think they might be just hoping that this goes away, even though they lost $40 million from a so-called prestigious university. Jamie, who used her position to claim that Yale's med school required the equipment such as iPads, Microsoft Surface tablets to help perform medical studies and other needs. This is one of the cars right here. This is a Range Rover. All right. Later, the goods were shipped to an unnamed out-of-state business which sold the equipment for cash and wired the proceeds to an account controlled by Maziv Entertainment. And by the way, Maziv Entertainment is the name of her house husband's, I believe, rap label. I want to take a look at this flyer here. I'm going to put on screen. That's the house husband. That's a flyer from 2012. Maziv Entertainment is the house husband's company or business or brand or whatnot. When I saw this, I just chuckled. I said, why all these dudes always got record labels and putting out these things? So I thought that was interesting. I just wanted to point that out. Where Patron is listed as a principal. Yale first questioned Jamie about the suspicious transactions in 2020 and later received an anonymous tip about the high volume of equipment orders, triggering an internal investigation. Yeah, you got that tip. Probably somebody that she ain't paid off. Jamie told FBI investigators last August that she conducted the scheme for several years, possibly as many as 10 years, and noted that approximately 90% of her computer-related purchases were fraudulent, according to an affidavit viewed by the Hartford Courant. If this woman does not spend at least 15 to 20 behind bars, then that lets me know there's a certain bias. There's a certain bias. This woman should not get a slap on the wrist for this. And she's telling them all this because maybe she believes she's going to get a slap on the wrist. Do you really think that her fraudulent career is going to be over by just putting her in jail for a little while? You have to make an example out of people like this. Yale initially alerted authorities to evidence of suspected criminal behavior last year and fully cooperated throughout the investigation, a Yale spokesperson told the outlet. Regarding the case, the university thanks local law enforcement, the FBI, and U.S. Attorney's Office for handling of the case. Since the incident, Yale has worked to identify and correct gaps in the internal financial record. Well, you should have been doing that for the last 10 years. What's been going on? This woman obviously was very good at covering her She was almost very good at covering her tracks. Like, she was almost good. She was almost there. She was almost there to the point to where she could fully hide what she did. Federal officials said that Jamie never paid taxes on the money she received in exchange for the stolen equipment. She filed several fraudulent returns, claiming the cost of stolen equipment as a business expense and didn't file federal tax returns at all in 2017 to 2020 because she didn't care after that. She thought she was home free. She didn't care. Yeah, let's see. Hold on. Jaye was released on a $1 million bond prior to her sentencing, which is slated in June. But how is she able to post $1 million bond with the stolen money? Listen, man, they have to make an example out of this woman. I'm telling you right now, if this was a guy that did this, because again, her husband doesn't seem like he's going to face any charges. But in any other situation, they would arrest everybody. But it's like Yale wants this to be over. You know, they don't care about making an example or punishing anybody. They just want this to be over. And I believe if this was a guy that had done this, they would have thrown him under $1 million bond. They would have given him a $5 million bond. I just think that this woman thought that she was smarter than everybody else. She thought that she could get away with this. That stealing from her own employer, she thought she was going to get away with this. And she probably, that's why she didn't file for tax. She's like, why not? Why? I've already gotten away with it for this long. Why should I file taxes? That's what she did. So let me know in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll see y'all next one.